So I was gonna just put music over this, but then I saw how long it turned out, so I figured why not talk a little bit about it, because this is a bit of a self-portrait and it's about something that's very important to me. Because, mental health and the stigma needs to end and all of that good stuff. So basically, I have c-ptsd, which means complex PTSD, which is not the same as regular PTSD. And basically what the difference is that with PTSD, it's something that you get when you've experienced a traumatic event and it disrupted your life. And there's a before and after the trauma. So with PTSD, what you're trying to do is to return to who you were, or, how you were before the trauma happened. c-ptsd, complex PTSD, is when there is no before. When the before is so distant or small, I guess, that it doesn't really matter. So for me, in my case, I grew up in an abusive household. So my entire childhood was spent in fear and thinking that I was going to die, and it was just really bad. And so when you grow up like that, or when you're in a situation where the trauma just keeps going and there's no way for you to escape it, it alters your entire worldview. You just can't think. Your brain changes. You don't think the way other people think. You have trouble with perceiving reality in the way it should be perceived. Everything is a threat, and your perception of yourself gets pretty fucked up. So, that's rough. That's rough, buddy. It's a problem that requires a different kind of care than PTSD, because PTSD treatment is usually about drawing on the skills that you supposedly have, that you had before the trauma, to handle the trauma and understand what to do. But when you don't have those skills, dealing with your trauma is completely different. It's a whole other ballpark. You don't know how to deal because the trauma is your reality. You don't know anything that isn't the trauma. So you don't know what things are supposed to be like when they're normal, because your normal is not normal. But you don't know what you don't know, so it's really difficult to change, or to even understand how you're supposed to change, because, well, you don't know exactly what's wrong with you. So I've been able to tell people all my life that I've been abused and that I am traumatized. And I'm okay now, I guess, by the way. I'm no longer in that situation. I haven't been for years, so I'm safe. But of course, dealing with everything that happened is a lifelong thing that just, that won't end anytime soon. And part of what the problem is that I've been looking for help, or I sought out help when I've needed it, and I can tell people what the problem is, in that I can tell them that, hey, I've been abused, I have anxiety, I'm depressed, I panic for no good reason at all. I have problems and I need help. And when you tell people that, they're usually pretty good at going, oh, shit, okay, let's get you talking to a therapist. And it's like, great, thanks. And so you talk to a therapist. And the therapists that I've had, they're not bad at all. I've always felt that they've done a really good job with their understanding of how to help me, and they've been very kind, and seemed like they really cared about trying to help me and help me cope. But the thing is that I didn't understand this until very, very recently. But everyone I've talked to have treated me as if I had PTSD and not c-ptsd. Even though it should have been fairly obvious from what I was telling them that I don't have normal PTSD. It's different. But they've all used the same sort of tactics that they would with normal PTSD, in that they're trying to find strategies for me to deal with things in a way that I don't really have, because I don't have those strategies. And they would ask me, basically they do their best, but they didn't understand that I needed a different level of sort of holistic care, because my whole worldview is shit. I don't work the same way most other people do. There's actual science behind it, that when you grow up in an abusive home, or when your childhood is that amount of fucked, your brain actually develops in a different way. So like it's a chronic condition for real. Like you're very jumpy and your brain perceives threats even when it shouldn't, and it's stuff that happens to you that changes you. And the thing is that I didn't know that I was getting the wrong treatment, because what everybody was telling me and what I always felt made perfect sense is that they would be like, okay, let's talk about your trauma. Let's figure out a way for you to understand your trauma and to handle the trauma itself and to move on from there. And, that makes sense. On a surface level, that makes perfect sense. That's like, yeah, of course, the trauma is the stuff that happened to me is the problem. So, of course, I have to deal with that and then move on from there. But that again fails to take into consideration the fact that it's not just the trauma, it's also that my understanding of the world and my understanding of myself isn't normal, and that also needs to be addressed. So what's happened is that I've started to seem okay, or be okay, I guess. And I'll, be seemingly normal. I'll be apparently normal. And usually after a year or something, I'll be like, cool, I can cope now. I don't feel like I low-key want to die all the time. Great, awesome. And my therapist will be like, great, we did it. We solved your problem. We've dealt with your trauma. And I've been like, yeah, awesome. And I've ended the therapy and I've felt happy and like I've done good progress and that I'll be okay. But then a year or two later, I'll have a relapse, essentially, where I've started feeling badly again, or without quite understanding why, and then feeling like a failure for relapsing at all when I've felt that I've been getting really good care and like I've let people down, or that I've let myself down, in that I apparently can't be okay, and that it's a personal failing in some way, that I just can't, and that maybe I'm uniquely broken. Maybe there is no fixing me. Maybe I'm too fucked up for this, Maybe there's just nothing anyone can do. And it really sucks feeling that way, because it really makes you feel like, oh, what's the point then? I'm not suicidal, and I haven't been, but I used to, when I was a kid, have a death wish. And these days I don't have a death wish, but I sometimes, even so, will ask myself what the fucking point is. If I'm going to feel this way, that I'll always be feeling broken and like unfixable, what's the point, really? But last year I started developing insomnia, so that sucks. But the upside is that it forced me to seek help yet again, to be like, hey, now I can't sleep, and also I'm feeling really bad, and I've had therapy before and it's helped, so I would like therapy again, please. And I was referred to... I talked to a couple different people, and then they were like, you know what, I think you need to talk to, like, the experts. And I was like, haven't I been? And they were like, not the real experts. So I got a referral to a place that is specifically about traumatic stress. Like, the people working there, they are specialized in traumatic stress. They are they work only with PTSD and c-ptsd, and I got to go there a couple times to have like assessment meetings with one of their experts, and I swear to fucking God, everything changed. This guy, the way he talked to me and the way he seemed to understand me and the way he like guessed at my symptoms without me having to say anything really made me feel a whole lot better, because suddenly it seems like, oh, okay, people have just been misunderstanding my symptoms. People haven't understood what the point is, like what they have to do to make me better. But this guy does. Because one of the things that he told me is that there's this theory about how when you're in the situation you develop what's called an apparently normal personality that will just take over after a while, so that you seem normal to everybody else, but it doesn't mean that you're actually doing okay, that you're doing any better. And that's where my other therapists have failed, because they've seen my apparently normal personality and they've just assumed that that's me getting better, but it's not. It's just me protecting myself. So this guy, and he told me a bunch of other things that made me feel so much better, and basically it feels a lot better. Maybe I'm not unfixably broken, you know. And I'm going to get to talk to them. It will be a while. There's a wait list that's pretty long. But I'm going to get expert care and from people who really know how to deal with complex trauma. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really excited. I actually sort of feel hope for the first time in a while, so that's very exciting and very good, obviously. So I guess if anyone else is struggling with this kind of thing, maybe you've been getting the wrong treatment without knowing it, and it's worth asking about, because apparently complex trauma isn't very well understood, even within the health community, I guess. So, yeah. I hope you liked the painting. It's a self-portrait. This is how I feel. Okay, bye.